The third compartment is alkaline again. If the process is fine, each successive step neutralizes the pH of the previous step. Here, we don't chew our food thoroughly, we don't chew the fruits, we start drinking fruit juices. All this can lead to something known as acidity or gastritis. Gastritis itself is sufficient to stop the absorption of dietary vitamins and minerals. Inflamed gastric mucosa. Then there is indigestion, which is the mother of many diseases. So dietetic guidelines like chew your food thoroughly. Food should be freshly prepared and warm. Food should be nutritious. Eat only after the previous meal is well digested. Going by time is good. Going by hunger is better. Eat only so much so that by the next meal time you are hungry. Hunger is a sign of digestion of previously taken food. Food has to be digested in a batch by batch process. It is a ritual. It takes some time for digestion of the entire batch of the meal which we have ingested. If we start eating, there are again newer concepts which say, eat every 1 hourly, eat every 2 hourly. If we want to cook rice, you take a vessel, you put some water, put some raw rice and keep it on the oven. Every 2 minutes, if you start throwing raw rice into it, what happens? The end product will be a mess. So, you take some rice, you calculate the amount of water, be it rice, be it soup, whatever. You keep adding raw material into it. You are never going to arrive there. So, this kind of mess will never nourish us. So, what the Vedic concept of diet says, if you are a yogi, 1 meal is sufficient. If you are not, 2 meals is more than enough. When to take the 2 meals? Something like 10:30 to 11 o'clock lunch and 6:30 to 7 p.m. dinner. If we can do this, you don't feel hungry, you don't feel a lack of energy, you don't see a need to keep eating anything. 2 full meals, one by 10:30 or 11 o'clock in the morning and one soon after sunset. If you tend to feel hungry, there are fruits, there are nuts, you can certainly chew on them. So this is sufficient. Food has to be digested, as I said, in a batch by batch process. Don't spoil it by keeping the system active all through. When the body needs a lot of alkaline material in the form of bile and pancreatic secretion, you put something wherein the acid has to be produced at the other end. So you are diverting the energies, you are diverting the blood flow. So food has to be taken, as I said, 2 meals is ideal. Eat only after the previous meal is well digested. A well digested previous meal or a sign of good digestion is when you wake up in the morning, the first thing you have is an urge to pass stool and urine. Once you attend to the natural urges, automatically the hunger comes up. That is when you can take 2 glasses of plain water, you can have some amalaki, you can have some raisins. So this is something which you can do on a day-to-day basis. Well digested food will give you enthusiasm, it will give you energy, it will give you a sense of lightness. You can't quantify that sense of lightness through any means. You should feel that. Someone may be obese but may feel light. It's so contrasting, but it's true. If your energy levels are good, if your digestion is good, you start feeling light. You start sleeping in a deeper manner. And when you are awake, you are more alert. These are the signs of health. Eat in a pleasant environment. Did I miss something? Yeah. Don't take hot and cold foods in quick succession. We do have a habit of eating hot food and cool drinks. The core temperature inside the intestines are 2 degrees higher than the body temperature. And that 2 degrees make a huge difference in enzyme activity. Enzymes function at their optimum level when the core temperature is 2 degrees higher than the body temperature. So if you drink ice cold water, if you drink a lot of cool drinks, aerated cool drinks, you are actually rendering the enzymes inactive. Inactive enzymes can't digest food. Undigested food can't give you energy. And you have not discovered what a good energy level can do to our system. We think this is the normalcy. We think it is normal to feel weak by the end of the day. We feel it is normal to feel sluggish by evening or late evening. It's not. Have a proper dietetic, you know, understanding, and things can change very well. Eat in a pleasant atmosphere. Don't eat too hurriedly or too slowly. We gobble food, we don't chew. Enzymes can act only on the surface area. It can't penetrate deep into the food stuff. So if it can act only on the surface area, you need to increase the surface area of food. How do you increase the surface area of food? By chewing, by cutting it down. Surface area is increased. So chew your food thoroughly. Concentrate on food while eating. Food should be specific to individual body types. Body types again is a huge topic. Today I was given only half an hour. I think I have, far extended half an hour time. So just a reiteration, eat only when you feel hungry, eat in accordance with your digestive efficiency. 2 meals a day is ideal. 1/3 the capacity for solids, 1/3 the capacity for fluids, and leave the 1/3 empty. By this, what we do is we give space for the food to move. Yeah. Why leave the 1/3 empty is because food can be propelled well in the intestines without expenditure of a lot of energy to push the meal. Then, why we should not fill to the brim? Because in today's way of life, our next meal is not uncertain. Is it? Is it uncertain? It is certain that we will have the next meal if we are alive. Yeah. So like animals, we need not hunt and hog a lot and wait for weeks to get the next meal. It's not. So when the next meal time is certain, follow the guidelines. It's not very taxing then. So drink water. This is a very important thing. When to drink water with respect to meal? People feel like we should not drink water during a meal or before or after. What is your opinion?
A little bit.
Usually no.
Yeah.
After a meal. Then?
Before.
Not after a meal.
Before.
During a meal. Good. So we got 4, 5.
Before.
Before, then not to eat too much.
If you eat dry food, like you said, on time, that absorb
Yes,
water.
yeah. You need water. See, basically, we cannot generalize when to drink water. If we are taking a wheat-based diet, we need to supplement water or soup or dal or something fluid intermittently. Yeah, half or quarter piece of roti and drink some water or lassi or something so that the consistency is maintained. If it is a rice-based diet, there is already so much water in it, you need not drink water. A rice-based diet does not require water to push it down. A wheat-based diet requires. Not drinking water when having a wheat-based diet or drinking too much water while having a rice-based diet, both are wrong. Generally, it is said taking water before a meal will dampen the efficiency of digestion, and taking water soon after a meal will put on weight. Taking water during a meal, if it is a wheat-based diet, is the best thing to do. Okay, so water here represents fluids. It can be hot soup, which is supportive. Then start every meal. This is a very simple, effective, and a profound way to keep our digestions active. Starting every meal by chewing a few slices of freshly salted ginger. Freshly cut ginger, salted, and a drop of lemon can be added to that. Just chew it and then start a meal. It changes the way we digest food. Within a couple of doses of this, you will see the way of digestion changes.
Why salted?
Because our liver, bile contains salts, and that is the digestive DNA. Salts are required to digest food. So we are supplementing it. We
If
need
you have
salts.
blood pressure, then what you do?
Again, it's a huge debatable issue whether salt affects the blood pressure or not. You can get heaps of research works or clinical studies which is supportive of telling like salt affects hypertension. There are many more which says salt does not affect hypertension.
Himalayan salt.
Sindhav salt, the Sindhav salt or the Himalayan salt, what you say, that has more of potassium chloride than sodium chloride. So when you don't take sodium,
Pinch of salt. It's not like
yeah,
too
pinch
much.
of salt. It's not too much also.
Yeah.
See, everything has its own relevance. We should not demonize any food stuff. 3 decades of demonizing ghee and butter. Now the British Medical Journal says there is nothing wrong with taking, ghee and butter. It is
Margarine is way
necessary.
worse.
Too many things are.
Ginger. Candied ginger.
How much
Yeah.
ginger?
Ginger can be few slices. Again, coming to ginger, in our diet we have the most spicy aspects come from ginger, pepper, green chilies, and red chilies. Green and red chilies are more irritant and less digestive. Ginger and pepper are more digestive and less irritant. Okay, so you can choose a judicial combination of these two. Ginger and pepper can be used in excess compared to red chilies.
What means black pepper? Pepper means what?
Yeah, black pepper,
Golmurichi.
gol mirchi. Okay,
With candied ginger, we have
yes.
candied ginger.
Candy, it's too much of sugar and it's boiled so much that it may lose its basic molecules which are heat sensitive.
How about
So
pickle
once a while
ginger?
is okay.
How about pickle?
Pickles are fine. You're
No,
not.
pickle, I mean the salted and.
Yeah, this is the pickle. This is a freshly
Yeah.
made. What is?
Pickled
Okay.
ginger.
Avoid stale food. Avoid stale food. This is something. Yeah.
He did mention garlic.
Garlic is good. Onion is good. They are blood thinners by nature. They are spicy also. See, if you analyze the nutritional values of spices in the kitchen, I'll give you a link to a website of US Food and Administration. If you analyze what are the components of simple thing like cumin, if I don't tell you that it is cumin and give a printout of that, you may think you are reading a label of a multivitamin capsule or something. So many things jam-packed into spices. But we are spoiling the therapeutic values of these spices by adding too much of oil, too much of salt, and too much of corrosive things. So again, I will if I can get the email list, I can send you a dietary guidelines in detail. These slides are not self-explanatory. It requires elaboration. I have a document which I can share with you, which elaborates on these points. So dinacharya in a day-to-day, these are some of the components of our day-to-day life which we can inculcate. One is Brahmi Muhurtam, wake up as close to sunrise as possible. If I tell, do 45 minutes or 1 hour of exercise, people may say, where's the time? So wake up early, you will find time. So, so wake up as close to sunrise as possible. Then comes attend to natural urges. Why I include that here is, when there is an urge to pass stool, you pass stool, what's there? But today we are seeing, we really laugh at it when I talk about it. Today we are seeing children are having to go to school by 6:30 in the morning. None of the parents or most of the parents are not insisting that the child has to go to the toilet, spend some 10 minutes, defecate and then start the day. Everyone are in a hurry. They are ready and they are gone to school. When there is an urge, either the children suppress, because it's not easy to go to the toilet, teacher may not permit or so many things. Or the children may think the teacher may not permit. So suppressing the urge, it does not come back for next 24 hours. Sometimes there is an urge to pass stool, you suppress it for 10 minutes and it does not come back when you want to. So make it a habit in the next generation, in children at least. Insist that they spend at least 15 minutes in the bathroom, go to the toilet and then brush their teeth and then start the day. It is necessary. Then oral hygiene. Why? These are very simple things. Why am I even talking about it? Because there are some components which are so important and we neglect it. We all brush our teeth. How many of us scrape the tongue?
I do.
There are many who scrape the tongue, there are many who don't. See, over the tongue, there is a layer of